America divided. Police raid colleges holding Palestine peace protests. Mark 3 and 23 through 26. But I'm only going to read the first verse. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? The word Satan just means enemy or adversary. So how can our adversary or enemy cast themselves out? And that's pretty much what happens when you have a divide amongst a faction or a team, right? But before I proceed, I want to give all the honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, RAWACHAA, QADASH. Double honors to my elders at Great MILESTONE, taught me this truth through the Spirit. Single honors to the elect. Peace and blessing to the 1/3, confusion, the faces in the four corners of the earth. Let this sink in. Imagine when Halloween was. Okay, that's how long Israel been bombarding Gaza with trajectory and projectiles. Right? So that's how long they've been bombarding them. So the people here in America and all around the world, it's like you already know when America goes into another country, you know they're not really there for humanitarian aid, so to say. It's not really their forte. But when you see what's happening in Palestine, see, that's something that's been documented since going back to 1948. Right? So we hear us talking about 1948 as we're talking about the small hats, the curly sideburn guys, the Wailing Wall people, the Zionists. Okay? And to understand that, the people here in America, they've been going back to ESAU, so-called white man, woman, and child. You've been exposed for who you are according to the scriptures, man. You're the devil. The word devil just means a liar, a slanderer. You're Satan. Satan just means the enemy or adversary. You are, right? But continuing on, and I'm going to play the portion that you're seeing on the screen with no audio. I'm going to play the audio after I just bring out a couple verses so you can hear what they're saying. But America has been divided because it's a bipartisanship. You have two parties, right? So Mark 3 and 24. And if a kingdom or queendom, talk about America, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. So America's been bound to fall, right? And that's spiritual, because remember, the house of Israel was split, right? After Solomon passed, what happened? We fell. Verse 24. Remember, you had the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. All right. Verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. If a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but hath an end. And yes, America does have a definite end. Like at my occupation, we pretty much service vehicles at some point, tires and batteries and all that stuff. And one of the customers mentioned something today, and I was like, "Yeah, man, all these illegals or immigrants, that's coming in." Then another Edomite dude was talking, and me, it's so many things I want to say. Like, yeah, it's crazy how the indigenous people of this land are but I didn't say nothing like that. I'm at my job. So first thing I said was, hey, didn't Biden let those immigrants in? They're like, yeah, man. It's funny because they're so divided amongst themselves and arguing and bickering and fighting. It's like they have no shame. They're just full of pride, because you're talking about letting other individuals into a land that you stole. As we speak to this day, America is still stolen property. Right? People don't look at it. America is still a stolen land. The entire western hemisphere of the earth. But I digress. But the point of me bringing it up, they're all divided. And it's a beautiful sight for us. Right? As they're clinking and clanking and fighting amongst each other, what are we doing? We're gathering the elect so that we wait on our big brother. usher in his kingdom. While they bickering and fighting, what's gonna happen? All nations, the heathen nations, are gonna come together to fight against a force that's outside of their realm, which they will be scared, but yes, there's fight, like the scripture says, man. And this new generation that's coming up, you've hid the truth and the gruesomeness of how America was developed, and you say let's all come together, let's all be in unison. See, you've groomed this generation to have that mentality, so now they're not pro quote unquote government, they're anti-government, but they're pro-America because they have the liberty to do such and such. But lo and behold, they're going to say you got officers climbing up on ladders that's attached to the back of police vehicles, breaking into colleges, raiding it, breaking up the protests. I thought that was the land of the free, the land of the brave. I'll call it the land of the sleep, the land of the slaves. But all of a sudden, everybody woke. You hear how the devil uses subliminal messages? When you sleep, it's all good. When you woke, it's a problem. But their woke is something that keeps you asleep. Because an American dream is really your scheme. Y'all ain't woke up yet, but you say you woke. Now you're walking around with your eyes wide shut. Like y'all just let all that sink in. Nonetheless, Habakkuk 2:10. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people and hast sinned against thy soul. Who else on earth like you, Esau, other than you, and y'all bickering amongst each other? The so-called white man, woman, the child, they have cut off many people. And there are many women that have put many men in the ground. And I ain't just talking about Edomite women. I'm talking about women in general. But we're talking about Edomite women. Because I will always talk about Emmett Till. That woman waited till she was on her deathbed to say he never whistled. But not one time, through all this tension, through all these decades of racial tension and fighting and discrimination, not one time did she mention and say I was wrong. She waited till she had to go meet her maker. Y'all cut off many of people. You conquered the whole Western Hemisphere, and now you run the world losing that now. And, you know, but that's why the Lord speaks about salvation, redemption. For who? Us. The so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. And every so-called white man, woman, and child like that ain't really an Edomite. A lot of them really us. Y'all don't even know it. We've been scattered all over the world, y'all. That's why there's so much turmoil throughout the four corners of the earth, because the curses follow us everywhere we go. The world will never go back to a stable, and never have a stable status till we back in rulership. That's why the Lord said the days are being shortened for the elect's sake, or no flesh will be saved, roughly paraphrasing, man. The devil know he has but a short time. What's that, Revelation 12:12? Or 12:10? Salakia? So he coming down with great wrath. They ain't holding back no more. They not procrastinating. They about to put they almost pedal to the metal. All right. They way over the speed limit, but they almost pedal to the metal. Right. They about to go past red light and nitros. But nonetheless, though, Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So I will leave the link of the video in the description box as well. But with that being said, I pray you was edified and fed. Stay in the spirit. Don't fear it. Just endure it. Ask for forgiveness. Pray without ceasing. Stay humble. Remain diligent. YAHAWAH. Shalom. And remember, we got next.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. New York police and riot gear raided the campuses of Columbia University and the City College of New York Tuesday night, arresting more than 200 student protesters in the latest crackdown on peaceful Palestine solidarity protests on U.S. campuses. Over the past 2 weeks, police in the United States have arrested more than 1,200 protesters on campuses as students set up up encampments, calling on schools to divest from Israel. The raid on Columbia came less than 24 hours after students occupied Hamilton Hall. It was 56 years to the day that police stormed the same hall during the historic 1968 protests at Columbia. On Tuesday night, police climbed into the barricaded building using a ladder attached to a police vehicle. During the police raid on the Columbia campus, the police also broke up the Gaza Solidarity encampment, which had inspired similar encampments across the country. Columbia President Manu Shafiq asked the NYPD to, quote, retain a presence on campus through at least May 17th, 2024. That's 2 days after Columbia's graduation. On Tuesday, faculty at Barnard College, which is part of Columbia, overwhelmingly passed a vote of no confidence for President Laura Rosenberry. Meanwhile, in California, pro-Israeli counter-protesters armed with sticks and metal rods attacked a pro-Palestinian encampment on the campus of UCLA shortly after UCLA's chancellor ruled the encampment unlawful. Pro-Israel counter-protesters launched fireworks at the encampment, which they tried to tear down. In Richmond, Virginia, police deployed pepper spray against student protesters at Virginia Commonwealth University. At least 13 arrests were reported. In Louisiana, a police SWAT team raided an encampment at Tulane University earlier this morning, arresting at least 14 students. The raid came hours after the school suspended 5 students in the school's chapter of Students for a Democratic Society. In Missouri, a history professor was hospitalized Saturday after police violently threw him to the pavement. Steve Tamari, who teaches at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, was filming a protest at Washington University on his phone when he was attacked. His wife, Sandra Tamari, who is Palestinian-American, was arrested during the same protest. Meanwhile, at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, student protesters have voluntarily ended their encampment after school officials agreed to hold a vote on divesting from Israel. On Tuesday, the United Nations criticized the police crackdown on student protests. This is Marta Hurtado, spokesperson for the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights.